Good afternoon, students. We are here to celebrate the beginning of a new school year with ETU Study Abroad launching just moments ago on On Tabletop. We're doing actually pretty well. I think there's already 30-some backers and a good amount of money raised already, and we just launched. So thank you guys for hopping on this quickly and doing your homework and getting it turned in already. And just an easy, nice stream to guys answer your questions about what's going on the new platform, Game on Tabletop, and let you know what to expect over the course of this campaign. So with that, I'll turn it over to Shane to, we already got 14 people, 15 people. So thanks for joining us quickly, guys. And we'll turn it over to Shane to just kind of tell you what is Game on Tabletop and why we're taking this particular campaign to that platform for you guys. So how's it going, Shane? I like your jersey, man.
Right. So Preston and Ed, who created East Texas University, had this made for me a few years ago. I think they gave it to me at ChupacabraCon, if I'm not mistaken. But I love it. It's a jersey right from ETU, right? It's awesome.
Yeah,
big.
You guys will see.
Football pads.
You will see Ed and Preston. We're going to have them later on during the campaign to talk about ETU. And Ed is going to be a player in our ETU actual play. So you guys will see more of them over the course of this campaign. But so Shane, why don't you tell us what is Game on Tabletop?
Yeah. So given the way things work for us, we sell through distribution and stores, of course. But a lot of people just don't have a good game store or they can't get to it. So we do a lot of direct sales, especially Kickstarter, as most of you know if you're watching this stream. But, Kickstarter has some fantastic advantages and some disadvantages. So what we will tend to do, and I mentioned this a few times before, is we'll kind of have our big box sets like we just did Pathfinder and Deadlands and the upcoming Holler on Kickstarter. The companions will be on Kickstarter. And then our booster projects, so that we don't double and triple up on Kickstarter so much, we'll be moving over to platforms like Game on Tabletop, which is also run by very good friends of ours and used by very good friends of ours. It's created by Black Book Editions in France, which we just love. They make the French version of Deadlands and several of our other games. One of our big buddies is Ulysses Spiel out of Germany, and they use Game on Tabletop all the time, especially for Torg, which I got to take part in a couple of years ago in re-releasing. So those of you who follow a lot of the stuff I do, you probably are already familiar with Game on Tabletop and know how it works. And what's great about our booster programs, if you haven't seen them before, we are basically getting you the hardback book, right? So in this case, it's Study Abroad, where your students from East Texas University get to go to Italy, Costa Rica, Poland, and England and get into trouble over there. And what we do for you backing us and buying direct is we give you some cool extra stuff. So in this case, you're going to get some neat little postcards, the very useful archetype cards that you can hand out at your table or store or convention or whatever, so people can get right to playing, and pawns. So we've been doing pawns lately. Simon Lucas just came up with this great plan for Deadlands pawns. They're die cut around the shapes of the characters, so they look really good. We've been doing a ton of them. We did them for Blood Drive, we did them for Deadlands, and now we're going to give you 3 sheets of free pawns for ETU Study Abroad if you order the book direct from us. Those who do it in digital will get the figure flat versions. You can cut and make yourself, but these pawns are great. They're cut right around the shape. They're very sturdy. There's a little cross-cut base that you can put in yourself, or you can use a plastic base, which is what I would recommend.
Fantastic. And so one of the questions that's popped up multiple times is how are you guys getting so much done? Someone from Facebook says my beard looks awesome. Thanks, guys. If you're on Facebook, you can go to a link on StreamYards and we can get your actual name. And Owen Lean is in the chat. Actually, Owen Lean is, he loves the postcards. Owen Lean is actually one of the writers on this project, and we will have Owen on a future stream during this campaign to talk about the adventure he wrote and all the other fun things that are going along. But so one last question for you, James. We know you're busy, and actually this is the question on why is one of the reasons we're also kind of bifurcating which platforms we use is to keep the streams all flowing well from the production side all the way through to delivery. And you're still pretty busy on finishing up the final touches on the big project Savage Pathfinder.
Right. So we have multiple teams working on things now. We've got the Rifts team. We've got the Pathfinder team. I'm kind of the core team guy, so I generally do like the core rules and companions and so forth. I tend to do most of the finishing stuff as well. So as far as writing and rules go, so I'm giving Pathfinder another pass before we release the PDF to backers very soon. All the extra polishing stuff is typically done by Simon before it goes off to the printer and so on. ETU, we actually finished Study Abroad. We actually finished this quite a while ago. Jess took the manuscript from the 4 different authors, made sure they kind of meshed in the same format a little better than maybe I had actually originally intended or originally asked for. So we've been sitting on this one for a while, and you're right, it's not just teams producing books, it's how do we get them to people, right? So it's still really hard to get small releases into stores. Like most of our box sets go into stores pretty easily, but boosters and especially all the neat extra stuff we have, like the archetype cards and stuff, are just really hard to get out there. So we do use these different platforms, particularly Kickstarter and now Game On. We used Game On one time before actually as a pledge manager, and we have even used Pledge Manager as kind of an ordering platform too. So really whatever it takes to get our stuff to people is what our goal is, right? Whether you order directly from us, from Amazon, from your local store, which is of course always our first choice, that's our goal, and Game On gives us another option to do that.
Yeah, Neil comments, printing books is easy, getting them into the hands of customers is difficult. And and one of the reasons to use multiple platforms and even to do Kickstarters or crowdfunders is because when we do an event like this, we kind of concentrate the initial order, and that helps us save on shipping. It helps us gauge the demand really well, because you get one piece of data right away on how popular this is, so we kind of get some instant feedback on how well we're doing on producing the stuff you guys want to see. So beyond just the idea behind Kickstarters and raising the funds, this is a really it's a good feedback with the community. One, to be able to give you guys more benefits. We produce more content when we do these kind of things versus just releasing things out into the wild, into distribution. And then also just the fact that we get to interact with you guys as we're putting the polishing touches on it. It's so much easier when there's a Kickstarter backer or a Game On where you've got the comments section, where we can kind of monitor the feedback, and then you guys can as well, live, so we're not getting 500 of the same questions to the email. You guys can see what's been asked and answered on the facts or in the comments, so that helps you guys get your questions answered and saves us some time. And it just, as well as producing things in kind of a very kind of cooperative environment. So as you mentioned, Simon's actually currently working on getting some of the stuff out the door to the printers, and we're going to let Shane go so he can help on that effort, so you guys don't see any delays on getting your stuff when you want it. But the Pathfinder is coming along amazingly. You guys are still doing, even as like last night, doing play testing. So those projects are all coming along well, and we'll let Shane get out of here so he can get off to a
couple final words. Yeah. When you get Owen Lean on, you have to ask him about busking in downtown London. Okay, I would love to hear about that personally. I know he does some kind of shows or something down in London, frequent magic shows. Jody's the unsung hero of all of our crowdfunding campaigns, while me and Clint and Simon and Don and everybody are talking about, well, how exactly does a chupacabra's blood sucking work? Jody is handling the terrible task of figuring out shipping and logistics, and she does it like a champ every time. And this campaign was actually set up by Donald Shepis, who I think everybody can see here. So this is his first time setting up a campaign for us. I think he's done a fantastic job. Notice all the cool new animated GIFs, and yes, it's GIFs, not GIFs. So it just looks really cool. We're kind of excited about it. The silly little things you get excited about when you make this stuff. So hope you love it. Hope you love Study Abroad and can broaden your students' horizons in your next ETU campaign. So thanks.
That's why we let him write the copy. He comes up with that on the top of his head. Well, enjoy getting back to work, Shane. We know you work like a devil, so we appreciate you joining us on the stream.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Sweet. So the rest of us are sticking around. We're going to answer your questions. We actually have some fun people in chat. So for those of us who are just joining us, we have Candace the Magnificent. You're going to see her on our actual play, playing one of our students. And you might have noticed Candace in the Pathfinder Carl Kiesler playtest. And she was fantastic as Lem the Bard there. And so we've invited her back to be on our ETU playtest. And so she's in the chat. You can say hi. Owen Lean is in the chat. He's a writer on this project. He did the Great Britain section. And he is fantastic. As Shane was just saying, he's a man of many talents. He's a magician as well as he streams. If you're into, I don't know, Owen, what is your style? Is it like 90s ska mixed with it's some good stuff. He's got a good radio channel, so he's welcome to pimp his stream in the chat, so you guys can join his stream as well. And but he'll be on for an interview. And other than that, we'll take some questions because, as Shane said, Donald Shepis is running the Kickstarter. Our own Jess Rogers, she did the project lead on a lot of the editing for us on this project, and so she'll be in our actual play as well. So she's not on stream today, but the kudos to her for getting this book done and ship-shaped. And, COVID happened. We didn't want to wait too long to get some work that had been sitting around for a little bit. We had planned to get out during kind of the pandemic, but now is the time to get back. So, and Shane just commented, we're funded, guys. So let me go up and refresh because we had a $2,000 goal on this puppy, and we are more than funded. 48 backers and 2165. So thank you guys. Yay, we're funded. Let me turn off Owen's comment that he teaches, but and put up Jody's. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. You always support us so well, and we know we're throwing a lot at you guys. This is going to be a big year. We have multiple books coming down the pipeline. The companions are still out there. I know you guys will ask about the companions. Holler, we mentioned we did the Halloween event and fall of last year, and that is on the slate for this year. So there's a lot more stuff that we haven't even mentioned yet. So there's a lot of good stuff coming to you this year. We realize it's a lot. We're going to err on the side of publishing it and getting it out to you guys, and you can choose on your own timelines when you want to pick it up. I'll note that because we're doing things like Kickstarter and Game on Tabletop, they have pledge managers, and so if you can't back right away when the Kickstarter or the pledge manager or the crowdfunder goes off, you can be a late backer, or you can back at a lower level and increase your pledge later, and so you won't miss out on some of the fun stuff we have for the crowdfunding efforts, but you don't have to commit all right away. But if you do have the funds sitting around and you want to get in whole hog, we appreciate you guys on that as well. There's one thing different. I'll ping Jody on this. So let me unmute you guys so you can actually talk. The GoFundMe, Game on Tabletop is a little bit different than Kickstarter if you're not familiar on how the backer levels work, and then on when you pay and when you get your stuff. So I will turn it over to either Donald or Jody. They can talk about what our levels are and then some differences on how this works out.
Oh, Don did the heavy lifting on this, so yeah, take over, Don.
All right, so one thing that I wanted to just note on what Chris was talking about with the difference between pledging now versus pledging in the Pledge Manager, we do have some exclusives for this campaign. So if you want to nab those postcards, they are each they've got art from each of the locations, and you're gonna be able to get them both in PDF and print. And the cool thing you can do is, if you get them in print, you can go ahead and put your players' names on them, put your name on them, and you can actually use them as invitations to have your players come in and jump in your study abroad campaign. Those are exclusive if you back while the campaign is live. So the campaign's running from now until Thursday the 25th at 6 p.m. Eastern, which is 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think I'm getting all of those time zones correct. And I think we've got some daylight savings between
yeah,
now and
daylight
then.
savings, who else happening in there somewhere. But we don't have to worry about the 25th till we get there.
Yeah. But so if you want to get those exclusive postcards, as well as everybody who pledges gets the Trouble in Texas music pack as a free bonus for backing. Those are both that bonus is exclusive to your pledges while the campaign is live. So you can still get Trouble in Texas on our store afterwards like normal. It's included free in your pledge to make it a little bit more exciting and to give you a little bit more stuff for backing during the campaign. So if you jump in the pledge manager stage as a late backer, you're not going to be able to get the postcards, and you'll have to get Trouble in Texas as a separate add-on. Now then, to speak a little bit about how this is different than other crowdfunding campaigns that you might have done, really the only big difference, basically everything works more or less the same as you would typically expect, right? You're going to have a pledge level, and you're going to look and say, oh, what are all these cool things that are in the pledge level? This is the pledge level I want. You select that pledge level. You're going to be able to go in and grab add-ons, and we will be expanding the list of add-ons over the next couple of days. We've got packs and box sets from our other product lines that we're going to be adding in, so that way, as always, we want, if folks, especially for our international backers, it's cheaper to get everything in one package versus multiple packages over time. So you'll be able to grab Deadlands, the Weird West, both the core rules as well as a box set we're putting together for this, or not a box set, but a bundle that we're putting together for this that includes the core box set and Horror at Headstone Hill and some of the map packs, the companion, some other stuff. We'll also be adding in things from like Deadlands Noir and Last Parsec and some of our other product lines, just so that way if you're going and if you're in a place that's usually kind of expensive to get shipping to, you can get everything all at once, and that'll greatly discount the shipping. We try and make it as cheap as possible, but due to limitations of our size and the partners that we have, sometimes it can be a little pricier. We want to make sure that it's as cheap as possible. So you'll be able to add on any add-ons, and that also includes things like getting extra copies, right? For instance, the postcards, some folks I know you might want to have a copy of those postcards for yourself to put on your wall, and then maybe that copy to go and hand out to your players. Well, if you already backed, you can add some extra postcards as an add-on, or maybe pick up some extra packs of bennies if you usually run with a bunch of players and run out all the time. Whatever it might be, you can grab those. The guys and gals of ETU minis, I know right now that a lot of groups are just using VTTs because of the pandemic, but hopefully soon we'll be all able to go back to our physical groups, and you'll be able to grab those minis, and they are gorgeous minis, 5 of them from each of the archetype cards that you can get in this campaign as well. And then the thing where it becomes a little bit different is, unlike a lot of other crowdfunding campaigns, your payment processes immediately, right? So you don't have to play that game of remembering, okay, I spent this much on the crowdfunding campaign, and so, when I go and buy groceries, I got to remember that I got to take off the $25 because I got the print level, and I shouldn't spend that money. You don't have to do any of that headache. It's just, you pay immediately, it's done, and you just have to wait to get your goods, which you'll see from the updates, and when we send out both first to digital backers and then later over to print backing a little bit further from that. So those are really just the things to note. Also, if you are one of our international backers, and when you click the drop down, so you see there, Chris he selected his location, but if you click where it says United States, you can scroll around and you can see we've got a bunch of different locations listed. If you're, the share screen is not showing you the drop down, it's just showing you when he selects an option, but there's a whole bunch of countries listed there. If you're not in that list, just drop a comment on the page or email us at info@peginc.com and let us know. That just means that we need to do a specific shipping quote for where you're at, and we just have to add that in. We kind of have the wide shotgun spread, but if you're in a place that we don't usually see a lot of orders from, don't worry. We definitely want you to be able to get your books and everything that you want to back. We just have to go in and do specific quotes. So I think that kind of hits all of the big things, unless there's anything I missed that Jody wants to add.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered everything. Lots of good stuff going on here. The only thing that popped up in the Twitch chat that I answered there, but I wanted to mention it here, is somebody asked if the ETU Study Abroad is updated for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. Yes, it is. So you don't have to do any conversion there. However, the core rules for East Texas University, and if you put on the first plot point campaign, Degrees of Horror, both of those were written for Savage Worlds Deluxe version of the rules. So there's just a few tweaks that you need to make. And that's available as a free download on our site. If you back at a digital level, you're going to get a copy of that digital download in with your pile of PDFs. And for physical backers, you're going to get a printed out sheet of those conversions because it's really short. It's very simple. And lots of people have been doing it now for a couple of years of converting it on their own. So yeah, I think that everybody's going to have a lot of fun playing with what we've got here. And I just wanted to answer that quick question. And gosh,
Yeah, it's only
there's
like 3 things.
yeah,
It's like change the name of 2 things, and there's a couple of creature entries that just need a little bit of massaging, but it's largely the same. And we will at some point in the future be doing that update of ETU to Suede. It's just like we were talking about, we've got a lot of projects we're doing, and so we just got to have the bandwidth to do it.
yeah, I promise you there is a schedule. It's just kind of loose, and some projects, move along faster than others, so they get slotted a little bit faster than others, and it's a constantly moving thing. So we can't put release dates down. People know that we're kind of famous for that. We just never do release dates, but we are planning on doing it at some point in the future, and we also still have plenty of stock. So there aren't that many changes to do. The art is beautiful and it's a lot of fun to play. If you have not seen it yet, there are lots of actual plays available on Twitch from other companies. The Wildcards team with Saving Throw Show did a great campaign going through all 4 years. And then there's several other campaigns on other channels. I can't think of them right now, but we had a lot of fun watching the Wildcards one. And I'm rocking my fraternity letters today. So Zeta Tau Alpha, I joined while I was a collegiate member at Lenore Ryan College and Bunnell University because things grow, including me after about 30 years. So that's why I've actually fit in this sweater. And I'm like, yes, achievement unlocked. But I wanted to say that college is just such an iconic iconic time in your life when you're trying new things, when you get to explore new aspects of your personality, learn new interests, you're learning new things all the time. And then why not involve the supernatural horror elements too, right? So get out there. And if you didn't actually get to enjoy the college experience for yourself, in a traditional setting, then you get to relive it again as a role-playing game. And I never got to do the study abroad thing, but man, I would really love to do that as a role-playing game. So, hey, now it's going to be a game that I can play along with everybody else. And y'all are going to have so much fun with this. I can't wait to hear all about it.
And speaking of college, I see in the chat, I'm going to throw it up here real quick. Hugh Henry, Dr. Hugh Henry teaches at the University of Advancing Technology. He worked with Shane and Simon back in the Cheyenne Mountain Entertainment days when they were in video games, and he's actually the person that introduced me to you folks and is why I'm here now. So great to see you in the chat, Hugh. Hope things are still going well over at UAT, and maybe you can get a study abroad game started up with some of the students there.
That'd be great. It's a great fit for, doing things with students or, as adults going back. And Clint and I have even done like an ETU collegiate professors game before. We did that as like a little duet game. So, there's lots of fun, different ways that you can take this.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to mention on the difference on Game On. So unlike Kickstarter, where if there's one pledge level you want multiple copies of, you basically have to have friends or multiple accounts. You can pick multiple copies of one pledge level on Game On, and add it. So I know there's some like Dave Dostler was commenting. He's a guy who, when he picks up a setting, like when he picked up Buccaneer, he bought it for himself and all his players. So if you want to do that, you can do any of the pledge levels itself. You can do multiple copies of. So you don't have to do the workarounds that you can't do on other platforms. So that's a nice little feature on Game On. And then Game On is also one where when you pledge, you pay. So that's something to keep in mind on that. Let's see.
Did we mention about the $15 digitals not having access to the few add-ons?
Oh, yes. So one of the things that is true about Game On for this campaign is the shipping works a little differently than you will usually see from our crowdfunding. So by default, Game On is a purely weight-based shipping rate. And so the thing that we like to do, where basically after a certain point you're not paying any additional shipping, again, that's part of that whole, if you get 4 or 5 of our box sets and bundles, you cap out at shipping and we cover the rest of it for you to help keep those costs down. In order to do that, and the way we've set it up just on the back end, if you are at the $15 digital only study abroad level, I think right now, is it just the bennies, Jody, that folks can get access to?
Bennies and minis.
Bennies and minis. So you have to back at a higher tier so that way you can get access to those. So all that means is if you want those other physical products, which we figured most of the time if you're just getting the digital stuff, you probably don't want the physical minis and the bennies. But in case you do, you're going to have to jump up to that first print tier of ETU in order to get access to that. That's just so that basically, otherwise the shipping would just be really weird, and then you're paying for a little bit more than we actually want you to pay for, and it also makes our fulfillment process really kind of weird and difficult, and it was just easier to make it so that you have to be at that first print tier.
Yeah, and if you're one of a handful of customers, the digital only backer levels, pledge levels don't have shipping associated with them. But I think like one country, a little weight got added to a digital product, which kicked in the shipping. So if that happened to you, if you're going digital and you got a shipping charge, try refreshing, because we've gotten that one fixed. If you still get one, let us know, and we'll fix that in the back end. That was just a mistake. And
yeah, just again, a shout out to our customer service team. If you have any issues, email us at info@peginc.com. You can also, put a message here on gameontabletop.com. But the fastest way for it to travel to the right people is to email us. I see a note here on the Twitch chat, because that's the only window I have open. Sorry, Facebook people. From Il Folletto, which I think I know who that is. Will it be translated in any language? So all of our official translators have the rights to be able to translate products like this. They just have to ask for it. They have to put the work into it. They have to print it. So it's not like a done deal. They have to commit to it, and it's a pretty big deal for them to do so, and it costs them a lot of money. So it's not like this is an easy thing for them to commit to, but it is possible. So if there is an official translator for your region or for your language, and there is one for Italy, then maybe you'll see it from Space Orange 42. You could stress, Joe, about that one anytime soon. Sorry, I'm responding probably earlier to the Twitch channel here.
Yes. Some exciting things. So over the course of this campaign, we're going to show you guys. So we're going to have some designer dev talks. So Owen Lean will be back on. We're going to have Ed and Preston on. We're going to do an actual play next Sunday. So that is on our Twitch schedule. So twitch.tv/peginc. You can see what time zone the actual play is going to be. So this is actually going to be a live actual play. So we're, no pre-recording. It'll be live when you guys are gonna watch it. And our friend from Italy, Gilbert Gallo, is going to be our game master. And we've got a great crew of cast for you guys. It's going to be Candace McAfee. She was in chat before. Michelle Wynn Bradley, our own Jess Rogers, and Ed Wetterman are going to be the players for a little. I think they're going to be visiting Italy, because why? If you have Gilbert Gallo, you must go to Italy. And So that's going to be a fantastic little live play on that one. So if you guys want to throw bits or subscriptions for tokens and bennies to help the players out during that, we're going to make that one interactive. We're going to be a little kinder because it's going to be one of our first ones, and we're not all professional live streams. So I think we're going to probably take 3 breaks during the 4-hour actual play to count up all your the bits and subscriptions you guys have thrown, and then we'll hand out some bennies to the cast. So we'll let the cast do their own thing versus some of the more professional guys like Wildcards who are used to rolling as you guys do subscriptions and bits and stuff like that. We'll let them play for a bit, and then we'll interject with our fun bits. And you can also throw bennies at the GM too. So if you're on the side of the monsters, and come on, who doesn't want to be on the side of the monsters? You can also give Gilbert some bennies to use against the players. And so that's a goodness we're going to offering for you guys. Speaking of packing your bags and getting on planes or trains or automobiles, we also are going to announce during the course of this Game on Tabletop crowdfunder the dates for Deadwood 2021. So we are going to be going to Deadwood this fall. It'll be in August, and we'll give you the exact dates when we're ready to launch that page, but it will be soon, in a matter of days. And so if you guys want to join us to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Deadlands, and Doomtown is going to be joining us, and so we're going to go hit up Deadwood, South Dakota for a long weekend of gaming and fun activities, and we kind of think this is a good way to get back into the live gaming scene. So we're expecting there to be a healthy number of people there, but we're not going to go too huge. No one wants to go do a Gen Con right away, but I think if we just kind of have a fun little weekend in Deadwood, that'll be a great way to celebrate kind of coming out of our cocoon of the last year. And so get your vaccines scheduled, folks, so you're ready to enjoy all the fun without having to worry about COVID for that. And the other big announcement we are going to be making during the course of this stream is the dates and locations for the follow-up to the Savage Cruise. So that is going to be coming to you. That will be in 2022, not too far into 2022, because we have a very exciting location for you guys that if you come a few days early, we might celebrate New Year's. So if you guys want to come hang out for New Year's, and we're hoping that date will allow people who have kids and families to join us, because that'll be off school time right around New Year's. And so that's going to be a lot of fun on that. So hopefully we'll get some of your favorites back to join us on that cruise as well. But so yeah, 2 big events that are coming up in the not too distant future, where you can come hang out with the folks at PEG and the rest of the Savage Worlds community, and we'll get back into gaming in person, because we're ready for it. I mean, I know I'm ready.
I'm so ready. I am so ready. I'm so glad that we've been able to stay in touch with you, all of you who are watching this on Twitch and who will be watching this later, like on YouTube. Been able to stay in touch with so many people online, right, during this past year, and just be able to talk about our game and have a chance to kind of take a break from the real world by doing that. But man, I can't wait to see you in person and to see you at. I know you said no Gen Con, but if they have Gen Con, I mean, I'm probably going. Let's face it.
If they do it. I got my vaccine, guys. I got it.
I don't have my vaccine yet, so it depends on a lot of factors. Yeah. But North Carolina, I'm not that high on the list. So, but yeah, when it all happens, we will be in person, and it'll be so much fun. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see you all. And that destination for the pre-cruise place is a place that you can come to even if you're not coming on the cruise. So, and it is a very family friendly place. I would love to see kind of a pre-Savage gathering of families and get to play some games with some kids. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to all of that.
Right. Yes. We can go see some rockets and maybe some cool Star Wars things and some other fun stuff. So if you guys want to guest, you're more than welcome to. But we're obviously COVID put a wrinkle in some of our plans. Obviously we wanted to get Deadwood done last year, and have the time between the two. So we know we're throwing 2 different events at you guys, but we hope between the two, either if you want to join us for both, that you're more than welcome. There's enough time between them to hopefully accrue some of your time off and save up some money. But the cruise is a super unbeatable price, and that it's a really amazing price. And and for anybody worried about like getting stuck on a plague ship, those worries are long gone in the cruise industry. It's been It happened right at the beginning of the pandemic, but there have been cruises that have been very successful and they've been going out, and so we're definitely conscious on anyone's anxiety on getting on a ship and double checking to make sure that it's safe and fun, and we're pretty sure that we're going to be able to deliver that for you guys. And the prices can't be beat. So if you want, even if you just want to join us for the weekend before, for the New Year's weekend getaway, we did have some people who came down and we left from New Orleans at the beginning of this year. Is that no? It was last year. It was last year. The calendar has actually.
Chris
changed.
and I have had this conversation. The past year just did not happen. We keep talking about things happening last year, and then we're like, no, wait, that was 2 years ago.
Yes. It's crazy.
So a little bit of a funny story. The first thing I wrote for Pinnacle, the Get the Goods one sheet I did for Deadlands Noir, Shane reviewed that and edited that driving on the way to the cruise. So I was just before you folks went on the cruise was when I started working with Pinnacle in that capacity as basically a freelancer. And so that's very much a date that sticks out in my head as being like my start of joining Pinnacle was right then before the cruise. And so I missed out on the cruise. So I'm really looking forward to being able to jump on this one.
And you're obviously proof that there was something that happened this past year. There was a lot that happened this past year, even if we were kind of all from our homes and remote offices, and kind of talking to each other online. But yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, and I can't, and I also. Busy. Yeah, and then like Chris was saying, we've got all of these options, like Deadwood is going to be so cool, and celebrating Deadlands 25th anniversary and doing the cruise option and the family option, I can't wait for that too. And even Gen Con, if that happens, or PAX Unplugged, or any of these other things. And we're still going to be having, online content here. It's not like this is going away. This is new things that are starting to happen. And we're going to continue doing this because we think this is what people want. And heck, we're having fun with it. So, these are all options. So don't feel like you have to do everything. Do what's right for you and participate at the level that is best for you. So we'd love to have you however you can help us, however you can participate. If you can't back the ETU Study Abroad campaign right now because it doesn't work for you, please share it on social media. That helps us out tremendously. So thank you again for everything that you've done for us this past year. It's really meant a lot.
Yeah, we've been busy. I mean, the Rocky Mountain Games is in chat, and that's Dustin Hatchett. And actually, speaking of the conventions and the virtual, so Gamma this year is still virtual. So no wonderful, hanging out at the Peppermill out in Nevada and Reno. But Dustin and I will actually be there. So any retailers in the audience, we are going to be at Gamma in these next 2 weeks. They're doing their whole virtual thing. So Pinnacle has a booth. We'll be at table 11 in the exhibitors hall, and you can join us. And I think Artel Saurian Games is also in our little room. So if you want to come talk Deadlands or Rifts or ETU Study Abroad as well as Cyberpunk, join us, because we'll be hanging with Mike Pondsmith. And we've got some great new stores, our realtors, no, retailers. We have some great new retailer bundles for you guys. So those will be Gamma exclusive. So stop by our virtual Gamma booth and say hello. We'll be there during the big days. And we might even pull off some games during the game nights. I mean, usually Gamma's a little board game heavy, but if we can get some role playing, either played or run, we're going to be on it. So you can join us for that as well. And I did promise. So Jody was nice enough to wear her Zeta Tau Alpha.
Yes, Zeta Tau Alpha.
Wow, good.
Fraternity. We were never a sorority. We're always a fraternity of women.
The fraternity of women, which is nice, right? I like those terms.
I can tell you why, if you were curious.
Do
So.
yeah, no, let's
Okay.
talk. Yeah, talk about
Okay.
it. Tell us about
So-
fraternity women, man. It's a good story.
All right, so most sororities were built as companion organizations to men's fraternities, and that is why they are called sororities, is because they were built off of like the other guys group. So if the guys group was like Zeta Tau Longbottom, just to pull a word out, it's like, then maybe these, the sorority group would be Zeta Tau Alpha or something like that. So that's how most sororities were built, is they were just kind of copying the men's group and making it a female organization, not Zeta Tau Alpha. We started our own group by ourselves just some very amazing women who put together a really amazing group of ideals, and our creed is what kind of what drew me to this organization, and commitment to service. And one of the mottos is seek the noblest, and I feel like that has kind of guided me in my career as well as in gaming. Like that is the kind of character I want to play. I want to be the heroic person who goes out there and saves the world. So that is Zeta Tau Alpha for me, and that's why it's been very important to me all these years. And some of my best friends are Zetas, and some of them aren't, so it's fine, But in college, I definitely needed that group, and it was there for me when I needed it. And my big sister, actually, my grand big sis, introduced Clint and I at a night, and said, "Hey, he wants to ask you out." And I'm like, "Sure, let him." I mean, he didn't make that much of an impression, to be honest. And at the same time, her boyfriend did the same thing. Yeah, I know. No, we've told this story a million times. The same time, her boyfriend did the same thing to him, and he was like, "Which one was she? The taller one, the blonde? Okay, yeah, she can ask me out." And then by the time we'd been dating for 3 months, we finally figured out that they had set us up. So my Zeta sisters have been the ones responsible for 25 years, almost 25 years. I can't do the math, but almost 25 years of wedded bliss. So thank you.
Oh, that's perfect. And I think I'm gonna dig, because you made the mistake of sending me a photo of you in your fraternity of women, and so I'm gonna pull that up here, and we're gonna show that because it's a good picture of you. But I also promised, so during the course of these live streams and the actual plays, we're going to be sharing our own stories of traveling abroad, running games abroad, doing the student abroad, college stories, just kind of, this is very thematic. And so I have a little one that I have to share today because he just sent this to me. So I didn't study abroad. I lived in the Italian house in college, but not because I had great aspirations of visiting Italy again. I mean, I love Italy, but because the chef in the Italian house was widely known to be the best chef on campus. And so, thinking with my stomach versus my head, I'm like, I'm going to move into the Italian house and learn Italian just so I can have the best chef on campus. And Jose Bibiano, love you, man. We've had a long friendship ever since. He kept me fed for 4 years of college, and we're still friends to this day. So it was a wise choice. But when I was in middle school, we had an exchange student for a whole year from Spain. And I'm going to throw this up. Can I throw? Yeah, there we go. That is me at Christmas somewhere in the 90s. And on the little chubby one holding the teddy bear. The other teddy bear. And because, of course, that's what a high school kid and a middle school kid really need, is a teddy bear. And I had a big teddy bear collection as a kid. But that is Eduardo Arracachea. And he wanted to make sure that he was not Spanish, he was Basque. And he's a great kid. So he had him for a whole year. And I was an only kid for most grown up, so he was like a little brother to me, or a big brother to me. I was like an obnoxious little brother, and I have so many stories of me being a dick to poor Eduardo. Like I wasn't used to sharing, and I had my own computer, and so I put signs all over like, "Do not use Eduardo. You can't use my computer." But one of the fun things with Eduardo is in the days before there were like anyone knew what a furry was. My dad has always loved Sylvester. So and so my mom created a full body Sylvester the cat outfit, the costume for Halloween. And we used to go do charity events for kind of the other the schools in the area with little kids, kind of the disadvantaged schools. And I would dress up as like a mouse or as Tweety, and Dad would be Sylvester. So we had this amazing full fur Sylvester costume. And now you just can't do that because everyone thinks you're like a weirdo. And but this was pure. This was good, people. It was before the whole furry thing. And my mom slaved over that costume. So my dad thought it'd be really fun to meet Eduardo at the airport after his 18 hours of flight to America in the Sylvester costume.
Oh, no.
Right? And this is the day before 9/11. So when you were at an airport, whole families would just hang out in the concourses, and you'd meet people as they were getting off the plane. So it wasn't the super security thing. So, of course, having a man in a full body costume in the middle of an airport, there were just the throngs of kids showed up. And of course, like the little boys, if anybody who's ever been in a mascot costume or a full body costume will know that little boys are horrible creatures, and at a certain age group where they have no manners, they're at the right height where when they punch you, they hit you right below the belt. And so Eduardo gets off the plane, and my dad is on the ground writhing in pain because there are like 6 or 7 little boys kicking him in the nuts. And that was Eduardo's introduction to the Landauer family. Was like my mom and I are there hugging him, and then he's like, "What the fuck's going on with this?" And it's like, "Oh, that's your host father, Paul." And Dad can't take off the head because you'd like ruin it for all the little kids, right? So we had to like extract Dad from the pile of children kicking him and beating him, and you know, get Eduardo home. And that was like, you know, welcome to America, Eduardo. And
I promise we're not all like this.
right? But we were still stupid Americans. So that night, right, we're like, okay, so he's from Spain. He must like Spanish food. And to us, Spanish food was like Southwest Tex-Mex, right? There is no connection between food in Spain and food in Latin America. There's just very little. Like the two are not the same. But, you know, again, we were stupid Americans at the time. And so we're like, oh, let's go take him out to a Tex-Mex place. He'll love it, right? Eduardo was a no sauce, you know, like steak, pure steak, like just salt, and that's it. You know, not even like A1 sauce. Like, and we're at like the, you know, slather on the green chili on everything and cheese, you know, and he was very polite, but he didn't eat a thing the first night we were there. We were like, oh, let's order food, you'll love this. And he's like, he's a no sauce kind of guy because, you know, in the Basque Country, they're very much into the fishing because it's gorgeous, clean waters, and you know, Bilbao is right on the Atlantic, and so it's a lot of pure high quality seafood. And when you're in Colorado, there is no quality pure seafood. You are about as far from an ocean as you can get in America, and you know, especially back in the 90s, they weren't flying, you know, fresh fish in daily. So, you know, growing up, fresh fish was not a thing, and for me, and yeah, but you know, tamales were, and you know, cheese enchiladas were, and all those wonderful things. So, anyways, that's my story on how
he was there for the cultural experience, anyways.
Oh, he got one. He got the cultural experience. Let's just put it that way.
Welcome to America in the Landauer household. We've got a weird guy in a suit, and we starved you your first day here.
Yes, exactly. So you too can enjoy experiences like this, but you know, you can kill the weirdness. You tackle monsters when you get off the plane and experience cultural shock for you know, the weirdos who live in the places you visit. So the ETU Study Buddy is actually a great book. So to let you guys know a little bit before we close out, is we are funded. Thank you guys. There's already over 60 backers, and we're closing in on like 2,700. So thank you for that. Thank you for a great first hour. So the campaign has 4 different countries. It's Italy, Poland, Great Britain, and Costa Rica. And there we go. Our local Polish dude. Actually, Donald's putting some polishing touches on the Poland section because he's like, I have to bring some authenticity and some accuracy to this thing. So
let's first say, right. I think that's perhaps a mischaracterization of what I'm doing, right? Let's not forget, all of our sections were brought to life by writers from these locations, right? So in the Polish section of ETU Study Abroad, you have an author who I'm pretty sure was literally from Białymstoku, the city in eastern Poland where that is set. However, when I started setting up the Game On page, my mom, who is from Poland, she came to America after she married my dad. She grew up her entire life in Poland. That entire side of the family has always been in Poland for, you know, generations and generations. I sent it to her, and she was like, "Oh, but could you like maybe change this 1 or 2 things?" Just because, you know, and my look at it was, well, we have one perspective, right? The original authors. We got my mom's perspective, and if I can meet those in the middle, right? Now we've got a little bit more of this is going to be a little bit more generic Polish perspective, because the author's from Eastern Poland, my mother is from South Central Poland, and so having that kind of meet in the middle, you know, everybody's writing to their own experiences, and so the more people that you have, especially representing a single group, the more of a kind of not generic, but generalized experience you'll get, and that's what we want to present, right? We want you to get the typical, almost stereotypical experience of what it would be like as an American coming over to Poland from Texas. So I'm just doing a little bit of tweaking and reworking here and there, just to kind of generalize it a little more. Also to sate my mother, who won't stop messaging me about the book.
Yeah, we all have to make our mommies happy, okay? That has to happen. And just editing happens anyways. That there's always going to be something that you have to tweak a little bit so that it plays just that much smoother for the majority of game groups around the world. So that's not something that is easy to convey in like a spreadsheet or something like that we can just kind of, or like a how-to guide that we would give an author or something like that. So, but we've definitely got some great content here from lots of great authors. You've already mentioned that Owen Lean's going to be coming in, and we'll be able to talk to him about his writing for the UK and Ascalon, and that campus just looks gorgeous. So all of the campuses have their own maps in the book, and that is part of the DIY VTT downloads that you'll be getting, which actually the DIY VTT thing, we should talk about that a little bit, because that's kind of, it's not new. Okay, so we've always been giving kind of generic assets that you can use to create your own virtual tabletop experiences. We finally have decided to come up with a label for it. So DIY VTT is what we're calling that, and that sets it apart from the premium content where it's already integrated into a module that you can play. So all backers are getting DIY VTT content at various levels. I think the main difference is if you get Alumni of the Year, you're getting the campus maps that were made originally for the first Kickstarter campaign for East Texas University. So you're getting that as virtual content as well. So I'm excited about that, and I think you guys will find that a lot easier to understand, the DIY VTT versus the premium content. So going forward, I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback on that. Do drop lines about that on our social media posts, talk about it in the Facebook group. We're also watching the Reddit. Somewhat officially, unofficially, we're not saying anything officially. We're there. We're always there. You're there. I'm there. You're there. We're just listening on a film, letting the good people who are running the Reddit groups continue doing that because they're doing a great job.
And also, if you post on the subreddit and I've got something to say or advice or anything like that, like GMs all the time will post like, "Hey, I'm trying to figure out this thing," I'll jump in and be like, oh, "This is how I would do it," which is not to ever say that the way I would do it is the official way or the way you should do it. But I just want to help out folks and give them the benefit of my experiences, and kind of, we spend a lot of time talking about the design of this stuff. It's largely our full-time jobs, so I want to always bring as much experience as we can to the community and the places that they're asking for help.
Yeah, and we had a great comment from Lone Jedi about the DIY VTT. Donald came up with that great term, and just want to make sure you guys know, like, we will be bringing on the VTT team again to talk to you about kind of some of the more projects they've been working up. And so on the DIY VTTs, those are just the simple VTT assets. I mean, they're still great. They're still the high quality art. Everything is still the high quality. It's just it allows you to integrate it into your platform of choice, whether it's one of the big official VTTs, or if you're a Carl or Kiesler of the world and like running on Photoshop or Google Meet, or just want to share over one of the chat services like images of the monsters or maps. That allows you to have those assets in one place that you can do it on your own. And then obviously with the capabilities of automation and kind of easy working into the other VTTs of choice, you can pick those to get tickets and back those as well. And
I do want to remind folks that our VTT team has talked about this before, and they'll talk about it when they come on again, right? They are planning to work through our entire back catalog, right? We're not just doing the new stuff, we're trying to do everything. But just like updating ETU and doing a new release to Suede, it's the same thing with our VTT, right? Is we've got X amount of bandwidth, and we're trying to do as much as possible and get the things that you folks really want out there. So we can't put dates to it, but we are planning to bring basically everything that we do to those VTT platforms. And the value add that they're doing over top of the DIY assets are things like, and the terminology, it's a little weird because different services use different terms, but a lot of some of the automation stuff, a lot of the drag and drop, making characters really quickly type stuff, and also including adventure content and maps and modules and things of that nature. So that's all, especially for ETU, also down. It's somewhere in the future. We just can't say yet because we don't even know. We're just trying to work through the things in front of us and get as much out as fast as possible at high a level of quality as possible.
Yep, exactly. And while we're talking about premium VTT content, I just wanted to call to people's attention, if you're not a Foundry follower, Foundry VTT follower, a new premium content dropped today, which is free. So even though it's premium, it is free, and it is our test drive rules for Savage Worlds. So if you go onto their Discord server, you'll see it as one of the latest announcements. You can also find it on our website, peginc.com. We've talked about it in our newsletter that went out today. So, you can find links to it if you just look around a little bit, but you can try out our Savage Worlds test drive on Foundry for free using the test drive. So go out there and have fun with it.
Perfect, and we're almost at an hour, so let's see. I'll bang out 2 more questions, and we'll be done. So the Steve mentions that this is it's on Game on Tabletop, not on Kickstarter. Are we moving? So we're diversifying the number of platforms that we're using to bring you our products. Kind of just what tool fits the right job at the right time. And so this being a booster campaign, and one where, Chris Kirby mentions in his question that he's already got the ETU box set, and so which one should he back to get everything new? Game on Tabletop allows us for a campaign of this size to be able to have you guys, instantaneously get the products you want. So unlike Kickstarter, with stretch goals, and we're really waiting for the end of the campaign to see what we're offering you, there are no stretch goals on this. Everything is already built into the backer levels, so all the kind of the stretch things are there already. And when you buy and pay, you guys are done. You obviously can come back and do more add-ons over the course of the campaign if you'd like, but you can instantaneously be pay and done on this. And then because this is a booster and we already have a lot of ETU content out there, if you already have the ETU in print, you can pick either one of the lower backer levels. And if I don't think there's anything you're missing, but you can, if there is something you notice that's not on one of the levels, there's the add-ons. And the add-ons are a very nice feature of Game on Tabletop that really allow you to either add on elements that are part of this crowdfunder or to go back through our back catalog. And so we have a bunch of stuff on there now, some big Deadlands packages, and then over the course of the campaign, we will be adding more content to those add-ons for the other Pinnacle lines. Just in case you guys want to use this like a pledge manager for one of our other campaigns and pick up stuff that you missed the first time around. And so hopefully that answers both of those questions. You have a little more customizability. It's a little shorter. This is a 16-day campaign. We're already funded, so thanks, guys. But over the next little more than 2 weeks, there will be more content added on the add-ons in case you missed something and you weren't part of the recent Kickstarters. To get into those pledge managers, you'll be able to add on those physical levels in the add-ons here. We're going to be doing a live play again. So next Sunday, you'll see a live play of ETU Study Abroad. Jill Gallo will be running that for an amazing cast. And then over the course of the week, we'll bring on Jess Rogers from Pinnacle. She's the lead editor on the project, so she'll be able to talk more about the content you guys can find in there, and she'll be part of the cast for the actual play. And then for various different streams, we'll be talking more about our college experience, our overseas experience, running games abroad, and all that kind of fun stuff. So there's a lot of content for you guys to enjoy and celebrate, taking your East Texas University Pine Box students out into the greater world, whether it's Costa Rica, Poland, Italy, or Great Britain. And that's kind of what this book offers, is lots of campaign material for you to run more adventures for your crew. And depending on how well this does and your feedback, like Jody said, we do have more ETU theme stuff in the pipeline or in planning. So if this works well, I had a comment from one of my friends here in Denver who's like, I've already graduated my kids. You guys going to do ETU grad school? Well, if this takes off, maybe. And maybe some for the younger crowd too. So there's projects galore from you guys. So thank you for supporting us. Thank you for backing us and funding so quickly. You guys... we always have anxiety when we push the go button, and you guys always amazingly prove us wrong every time. And we're going to let Donald get some rest because he has some teeth pulled this week and is, you can see he's got
the bruising. Yeah.
Right?
It's all orange.
Right, so he did not get in a street fight, but we're gonna let him get some rest because he's done an amazing job getting this ready for you guys. So between Jess and Donald and everybody else at Pinnacle, thank you, Jody. She'll be on some more of our streams. Thank you guys. We just 20 seconds to get to an hour, and we're gonna end early so we can all go get some lunch or dinner. And again, back us on Game on Tabletop, and we will see you. Au revoir, Auf Wiedersehen, toodaloo. How do you say goodbye in Polish, Donald? Do you know?
You're muted.
Eat a glumpi or a glushki. That's
How do we say it in this current COVID age? You're muted.
Right. That is how you say goodbye. Yeah. So with that, guys, Auf Wiedersehen, toodaloo, cheers, ciao.
Thank you all. Bye.
Those were then.
Das Vidania.